Hi everyone and welcome. Yes, I am yawning. Yes, I am tired. This is FIDE Master Charles Galofre, and I'm going to welcome you to this video of many. This is the very first of many to come on the greatest players that have ever played the game. In this particular series, I'm going to be talking about Jose Raul Capablanca, and I'm going to explain to you why I feel that he's the best player that has ever played the game. I'm not the only one that shares that opinion. Bob Vinnick said that from all the world champions that he met, that Capablanca was the one that left a lasting impression on him. Lasker said that he met many players in his life. That he met many players but only one true genius. Alekhine said that when Capablanca lost, the game lost. Oh man, I'm still yawning. Fuck, I am tired as hell, but you know what? I've been wanting to do a chess video for a long time, and I'm going to continue doing this video. I'm ready to do the video. Capablanca. So yeah, did I tell you about the statistics as to why he's such a great chess genius? Capablanca played 567 chess games, and from those 567 games, he only lost 35. Could you believe that? Can you imagine what it's like to only lose 30 games in your lifetime? That is just incredible. I mean, what does that do to somebody's ego? It's just, the guy was truly exceptional. The only person to come close to that was Alekhine, where Alekhine played about 1,100 games in his lifetime, and he lost 113 games. So that puts his losing streak at about 10%, Capablanca at about 5%. So anyway, the great Kappa, the great chess machine, was the white pieces in this game. He was 12 years old. The tender age of 12, he was playing the national champion of his country, Juan Corzo. He played d4, d5, knight to f3, and c5. I'm not going to talk about the openings in these games because really, you know, these guys, they were innovators. They were really the creators of chess. They were the ones that were really playing with their minds. Obviously, every chess player plays with their own fucking mind, but but you know, these guys. What I mean is that nowadays, or you know, the players after them, you know, they play more with their eyes, and you know, the players of today have seen everything that there is to see in chess for the most part. So with that said, Capablanca played e3. Knight c6, knight c6, b3, e6, bishop b2, knight bd2, knight f6, knight bd2, pawn takes d4, and pawn takes d4. Was that exchange necessary? Yes, it was. Why? Because if black were to move the bishop, then white captures on c5, and the bishop has to move again, losing a valuable tempo. So bishop to d6, bishop d3, castles, and now knight to h5. So let's take a moment to talk about that move. Is that a good move? You know, most people are going to say, no, it's not. You're moving the knight twice in the opening, blah, blah, blah. That's what probably Capablanca would say himself. You move the knight to the edge of the board, blah, 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 etc., etc. If you look at how the game continues, we could justify the move, because what Corzo is trying to do is that he's trying to close down the position. He knows that Capablanca is going to play knight to e5 at one point. He's going to exchange that. He's going to block the position. And he's going to stay with two knights. Is that brilliant? We don't know. Is it strategy? Yes, it is. We'll explain the strategy later on in the game. Would I play knight h5 myself? No, I would not. Excuse me, I'm yawning. Oh my god, I'm tired. I wouldn't play it because it's a move that seems unnatural. It's unnatural because there are other moves that black could have done naturally. For example, trying to develop other pieces. Queen to e7 would have been a perfect example of a natural move. g3, stopping knight to f4, f5, blocking the diagonal of the bishop, knight e5, taking advantage of the hanging knight, and placing the knight on the new created weakness. Knight f6, f4, bishop takes e5, and here we could probably comment on the position because the character of the position is changing. We're exchanging one minor piece for the other one. Is it okay to exchange a bishop for a knight? Yes. Why? Because there's 7 pawns on the board. The bishops are inferior to the knights, and as a result, it's a decent exchange. Pawn takes e5, knight g4. Now, with our previous explanation, does that mean that black is better here? No, he is not, and that's because time is a very influential element in a chess game. And after queen to e2, if we evaluate the position, we could see that in terms of development, white has how many pieces developed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, and black has 1, 2, 2.5. Right? So 2.5, white is up in terms of development, and as a result, he should have the advantage. So queen to b6, attacking the pawn on d4. Knight f3, over protecting it. Bishop d7, developing the only piece that hasn't been developed. a3, preventing knight to b4. King to h8, kind of a prophylactic move and an aggressive move at the same time, with the idea of playing rook to g8 and g5. h3, threatening the knight. Knight to h6, queen to f2, overprotecting the pawn on d4. Knight f7, preparing g5. King g2, a prophylactic move, removing the king from the diagonal of the queen. g5, g4, stopping g4 himself, and also creating a threat of capturing on f5. Knight e7, queen to e3, targeting the g-pawn. Rook g8, rook a1, knight g6, pawn takes f5, and knight to f4 check. And then the immediate move, king to h2, knight takes bishop, queen takes bishop, pawn takes f5, and now c4, liquidating the center. And we see white's strategy, white's winning strategy to boot. He's trying to open the diagonal for the bishop on b2. Queen to e6, defending the pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. And now a beautiful move, e6, forking the bishop and the knight. So there's only one move in the position, and that's bishop to b5, defending by way of counterattacking and skewering the queen and the rook. How would you continue here, by the way? What's the strategy behind white's couple previous moves? To free the bishop, right? Well, that's exactly what Capablanca does. He sacrifices the queen. Queen takes bishop. Queen takes queen. And now d5. Opening the diagonal to the bishop. He has 2 connected passed pawns in the center of the board. Rook to g7. Pawn takes knight. Now he has a strong passed pawn. h6. Knight d4. There's only one move to save the game. Queen takes rook. Rook takes pawn. Rook takes f5. Rook takes rook. Knight takes rook check. King h7. And now a very nice technical move. Knight to e7. Taking away the squares for the king. Rook f8. King g2. It's obvious that we know who's going to win this game. d6. g4. Pod takes pod. Pod takes pod. Bishop e5. King a6. d7. The threat is bishop c7. Rook d8. Could you see the winning move? Knight g8 check. Rook takes knight. Bishop f6. And the rest of the game doesn't need any explanation. Capablanca won this endgame without much difficulties. He's obviously up a piece. And he wins the game on the 60th move.